The Green Bay Packers receive some huge news. I'm going to cover that in this video. So please, if you like the content, hit that subscribe button. Okay, so let's get into it. I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to, of course, watching Jordan Love in the offense and all the speed and exciting things that Matt LaFleur calls on the offensive side of the ball. But more than that, I am pumped up about the Packers defense. And obviously, defense was an issue. We were subpar to at very best. We were at the back end in almost every category defensively under Joe Barry, but now under Jeff Hafley. I am super excited to see what the chaos and all that's going to. He's looking for speed guys, right? Speed guys on the defense, guys that can disrupt, guys that can get the ball, get turnovers, something that we're not quite used to seeing when it comes to the Packers defense under Joe Barry. So again, super excited to see what Jeff Hafley is going to do that. So what is the huge news coming out of Green Bay? And it has to do about Eric Stokes, this guy right here. This is a guy that, quite honestly, I've kind of given up on or forgotten about, of just like, you know what? It's Eric Stokes. I'd rather see Carrington Valentine out there. Really like Carrington Valentine, obviously 7th pick last year for the Packers. But let's see what this article has to say. It says Green Bay Packers coach Matt LaFleur believes cornerback Eric Stokes is in a great place, both physically and mentally, after missing most of the last 2 years with injuries. LaFleur said he thinks Stokes and receiver Christian Watson, who we're not even talking about Christian Watson right now, but that is super encouraging and great to hear, who both met with hamstring specialists this offseason, are in the best shape. Both those guys are in the best shape that he's seen from either player. So that is awesome to hear. So what did Matt LaFleur, what was he quoted as saying? Okay, it says right here in the article, when you look at him physically, meaning Eric Stokes, his body looks different. He's hitting some fast speeds out there in practice. I can tell mentally he feels like he's in a great place. And man, yeah, I mean, it's like that in most any sport, when you start talking about mentally, if you're there, especially in golf, but any sport really, if a guy is there mentally, he's checked in, he's buying all in the process, he's not thinking about his past injuries, man, that is a dangerous thing to have on your team, a guy that can kind of play recklessly out there. Of course, Jeff Hafley is wanting to create, just chaos and disruption at the line of scrimmage. And then you've got linebackers like Edrin Cooper and Quay Walker who can get from sideline to sideline in a hurry, right? So then you add a DB, secondary room like Jair Alexander, who, if he can figure out his health issues, and it sounds like good things are coming out of Green Bay when we start talking about health, health concerns and addressing those things and those needs. When you start talking about Christian Watson, and again, a guy like Eric Stokes, who was a first-round pick in 2021. He had an excellent rookie year before he suffered his foot and knee injuries and then hamstring injuries last year. So really, this dude has missed 22 of the last 34 regular season games for the Packers. So again, this is a guy that we've kind of all put on the back burner, all forgotten about. But if healthy, this is a dude that can be disruptive, as we saw his rookie season. So again, when you start talking about a secondary room of Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, Corey Ballantyne, who that's like further down on the depth chart. That's not as exciting to me, but Carrington Valentine, that creates some excitement for me. Kalen King, that creates some excitement for me. Another guy, another 7th round pick for the Green Bay Packers, who I think is going to end up being, one of the biggest surprises coming out of this year's draft as a whole. For any team out there, Kalen King, I think, is going to, these guys playing with a chip on the shoulder. And what a problem to have if you're the Packers, when you start talking about the depth that they have at defensive back, especially when we've been talking about over the last couple of years with injuries, especially to our defensive backs. Jair missed 9 games the last season, one of them being a suspension. And then Eric Stokes was non-existent when he was out there. But when we start hearing what Matt LaFleur is saying, he's hitting fast speeds out there, and mentally and physically, he's seen the best version of Eric Stokes that he has seen yet. That is huge. That is some big news for us Packer fans. And that is big news for the Packers and Jeff Hafley and the defense when you start, again, talking about speed. And then you've got the safeties that we're not even talking about, Xavier McKinney and Javon Bullard. And then, again, Edrin Cooper, Quay Walker. and then Eric Stokes and Jair Alexander. What a secondary, what a defense. This is going to create, again, a lot of chaos, a lot of disruption for any offense out there. And when you start talking about the Packers facing the Lions, we know who, you got this Laporta there, you got St. Brown there, big weapons in Detroit. And then you start talking about a probably one of the most talented wide receiving cores out there as far as duos go in Minnesota's Justin Jefferson and Addison. And then you've got Chicago and the offensive weapons that they've added this offseason. So if you're the Packers, man, you've got to be super excited and pumped because, okay, the Packers didn't need to get any better really offensively. This is a very talented offensive team. And defensively, they addressed the issues that they needed to address. Campbell is gone, and that is big for the Packers because then they add Edrin Cooper, a guy who is a major upgrade from what we've seen out of Campbell. I haven't seen him play a game yet, but I can tell you already he's going to be a major upgrade, especially when we start talking about his speed and his coverage skills out there as a linebacker. This is going to be super exciting and fun football to watch. Leave your comments. Let me know. Are you guys excited about Eric Stokes being in physically and mentally the best shape that Matt LaFleur has seen yet? And you start talking about guys like Christian Watson, who's starting to figure out their hamstring injuries and issues. Now, if they could transfer that over to Josh Jacobs, a guy who already has a tweak in his hamstring, a guy who's kind of been plagued with injuries throughout his career with the Raiders. So hopefully that doesn't become an issue for the Packers. But again, they've got some depth there at the running back core. So again, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Go Pack Go.